every single gym owner, business owner, they talk about leads. Agencies promising you more ads, gurus saying that, more traffic solves everything. It doesn't. But let me ask you something right now. What is your average client LTV? Not your EFT, not how many leads you got last week. I'm talking about the total amount of revenue a single client is worth while they're with you. Okay. So if you can't answer that instantly, here's the truth. You are scaling whatever company you're working with, whatever company you're on, completely blind. And that's why so many gyms especially hit the same wall, whether it's 40K, 60K, maybe 80K a month, but then they stall. Because every time a client cancels, you don't just lose their $100 a month membership. You lose $2,000, $3,000, sometimes even more in LTV. And that's money you'll never see again. And so if you don't have systems to extend your LTV, every ad dollar you spend is just mitigating and increasing the likelihood of churn. You're paying Facebook or Google or both to refill a leaky bucket. You're putting a Band-Aid on a bleeding balloon, right? Here's the good news. You don't need more leads to grow. You don't need to burn $10,000 a day, a week, a month on ads. You don't need to hire 3 times the amount of trainers or staff. What you need right now is to maximize the value of the clients you already have. And the way to do that is through 3 simple levers: retention, ascension, and referrals. So in this video, I'm going to do a whole masterclass walkthrough. I'm going to break down each one of them, show you the hidden costs of ignoring them, and give you the roadmap to turn every client into a long-term profit center. And by the way, if you have issues with setting on messages or phone, I've built a free resource called the 10K setting system. In that exact system and framework, I use to help companies and gyms like you increase their numbers, increase their KPIs, and just overall make more revenue and learn how to set better. So without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes. So retention is the single biggest driver of LTV. If a client stays 6 months, maybe they're worth 1,000. If they stay 12 months, they're worth double. Same client, same marketing, double the value, okay? The problem is that most gyms have no retention system. Clients join, they get excited. Then 3 months later, they start to fade. Then they miss a week, but nobody notices. They feel invisible. And suddenly they're gone, boom, churned and canceled, okay? Because every cancellation doesn't just cost you $150 a month in that month, right? It costs you thousands potentially in LTV. Now, imagine this. If your average client stays 7 months, and you extend that just by 3 months, well, that's an extra $600 per client at $200 a month. And with 100 members, that is $60,000 more revenue in a year. That's no new fancy ads, funnels, campaigns, marketing, content, no new leads, just keeping people longer. So if you are serious about scaling, retention is your first lever. And retention isn't random, it's engineered. And now we're going to break it down in more depth. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you recognized a client's milestone? Was it month 1, month 3, month 6, their 100th session? If you can't answer that, you are missing one of the easiest tools for retention, because people don't quit what they feel proud to be a part of. Clients cancel when they feel invisible. If you only talk to clients when they mess up or miss a payment or do re-up, like redo the program, they are just going to start associating you with a bank account, their credit card, money, or failure. But when you celebrate them at key moments, they're going to stick. So this is where the milestone recognition SOP comes in. So at month 1, you celebrate their first 12 sessions. At month 3, you shout out 90 days of consistency. At month 6, you highlight their transformation. Recognition doesn't have to be expensive either. I'm not telling you to buy them a really expensive bottle of rosé, all right? It just has to be intentional. It could be literally a card. It could be a shout out on your socials. It could be a t-shirt, a handwritten note, a shout out in class if it's like a group training thing. That is what does keep people from drifting, because they want to feel recognized. Now, here's the brutal truth. You don't lose clients in a day. You lose them in silence. And that's why the smartest gyms run a churn watch list. They track red flags before people quit. Things like, did they miss 2 sessions in a week? Did they skip 2 check-ins? Do they have low energy in a class? Or are they just quietly like socialized, right? So when those signals pop up and no one intervenes, cancellation is practically guaranteed. And again, every cancellation equals thousands in LTV lost. So you need to put systems in place. You need to use your CRM to tag at-risk clients. Or, fun fact, you could use what I've been working on for a couple of months behind the scenes called Pulse KPI, which does this for you. But anyways, you could use your CRM. You can then use a VA or assign a coach to follow up with them every 48 to 72 hours, right? And then you review the churn list every Monday, every week. You have a VA update this. I have a whole SOP on this. If you want it, let me know. Even something as simple as a text. Hey, I noticed you've been quiet. Hey, I noticed you have missed a couple of sessions. How can I help? Like, what's going on? Because that will save you thousands of dollars. And so here's the fun part. retention isn't just about saving the ones at risk. It's also about doubling down on your best. So that's where the top 20 client LTV SOP comes in. Every quarter, you identify your top 20 clients based on revenue, referrals, and energy. Then you surprise them. Maybe it's with a custom hoodie. Maybe it's with like a protein powder or early access to some new program. Now, obviously, why does this matter? It's because your best clients already believe in your brand. They're going to give you referrals. They're already paying. They're going to refer you. They're going to show up more. And when you reward them more, they become like your biggest cheerleaders. They stay longer, they spend more, their LTV increases, and they're going to bring more people with them, right? So you need to stop treating every client the same. I mean, you need to treat all of them amazing, but especially the top ones, you need to recognize and reward them, especially those ones who are worth the most. That's how you build a retention culture. Just to recap, retention is about engineering loyalty, not hoping, not guessing, not praying, not more Facebook ads. Systems like milestone recognition, churn watch list, and top client surprises will make people stay longer. And when clients stay longer, LTV goes way up, which makes everything else in your business easier because you'll have more MRR, you'll have more AOV, whatever the case is. And now that once we have retention handled, the next question is, how do you increase the value of these clients while they're with you? And that's where lever number 2 comes in, which is Ascension. Now that we have retention handled, you stop the bleeding. Clients are staying longer. LTV is rising. But here's the thing. LTV isn't just about how long someone stays. It's also about how much they spend while they're with you. And that's where lever number 2 comes in, which is Ascension. Okay, so what most gyms only sell is like a base membership. Call it $100, $150, maybe $200 a month. That's it, that's all. And then they wonder why their margins are so thin and their staff turnover is so high, not to mention their churn. Okay, but here's kind of the truth. Your best clients don't just want the basics. You know, they want more support. They want more accountability. They want faster results. And if you don't give it to them, they're going to buy it somewhere else, whether that's like supplements online, whether that's nutrition advice, maybe from like Instagram, or maybe a personal trainer from a competitor. So Ascension is about meeting that demand, designing hybrid offers, nutrition add-ons, and premium coaching options that increases your MRR, or monthly revenue per client. And retention buys you time. Ascension multiplies the value of that time. So let's run a quick math scenario. Say you've got 100 clients paying $200 a month. That's simple. That's 20K in monthly revenue, right? Now, let's say you upsell just half of them, like 50 people, into a $50 a month nutrition or accountability add-on, like if you wanted to start a school community, which, by the way, if you do, we have a DFY offer for that. But that is an extra 2.5K per month. That is $30,000 per year. And that is without ads, no new leads, no fancy funnels, no all of this guru crap. So imagine ascending your top 20%, your best 20 clients of those, right, into a $200 a month premium upgrade. Now that's another $4,000 a month, and that's almost 50 grand a year. So together, that's nearly $80,000 in additional revenue from the same 100 members just by giving them more of what they already want, right? So this is why focusing only on lead generation is absolutely insanity, in my opinion. You could double, triple your ad budget tomorrow and still miss this money sitting right under your nose. Ascension unlocks hidden revenue. So one of the simple ways to ascend a client is through structured personal training upgrades. But it can't just be random, right? Like, hey, do you want some training? You know, because that's going to kind of feel desperate, right? Instead, you need to systemize it, right? So think about your top 10 to 15% of group class members, right? They're showing up 2, 3, 4 times a week. They're hungry for more. Maybe they've plateaued. And that is your upgrade pool, right? So here's the limited time PT upgrade SOP, a very small snippet of it. So once a quarter, you identify your top 10% of your group clients and you offer them an exclusive window to step into hybrid PT, something like a 2-week PT accelerator. That would come with 1-month hybrid elite, like one-time personal training, unlimited group, nutrition kickstart, or a small discount for early adopters. Whatever it is, you position it as your, like, because I can only give suggestions. I don't know your revenues or your group right now, right? If you want me to give you more specific advice, you could book a bottleneck call below. But nevertheless, you want to position it as something like, you know, Sally, name, whatever. You've been crushing it, and we think you're ready for the next level. We're opening up just 5 spots for this upgrade, and you've got the first shot. Nobody knows about it, right? That's Ascension framed as recognition, not a pitch. It's also a little bit of FOMO, a fear of missing out, right? Because you can also frame it as like limited time discount, all that other stuff. But that will work most of the time, okay? So now we kind of need to address the elephant in the room. And I don't know why my GIF is not working, but it's a GIF of the Wolf of Wall Street. But most, honestly, business owners, they hate upselling. They think it's like slimy, right? But Ascension isn't about being pushy. It's about literally serving your purpose, their goals, deeper and better. Because your best clients don't see upgrades as sales. Okay, as long as you don't like say, hey, can you give me your credit card? I want to make more money off you. They see them, and they should only see them as opportunities because they're already consistent. They've already invested, and they're literally waiting for you to invite them to level up, right? So when you shift your mindset into selling more, into I'm serving them more and better, you unlock the real power of Ascension. You're no longer just running workout. You're building transformations. And those transformations are what keep people loyal, proud, and referring. And also, obviously, get amazing results, which is probably the reason you started working in this industry in the first place. Okay, so now check this out. This is called like the advanced play, okay? For your absolute top clients, the top 10%, the Ascension can go even further. Think of high ticket transformation programs. So one-on-one VIP coaching, or even what I like to call the elite build out. So now why? It's because these clients are paying, let's say $200 a month. They could easily triple that. Okay, they could easily do $600 a month, even $1,000 a month if the offer is right. And here's the kicker. Those premium tiers don't just increase LTV, they also anchor your pricing, making your $200 a month program look like an absolute bargain, right? So you design 1 to 2 advanced Ascension paths each year, and you frame them as recognition for the top performers, not desperation plays. When you do this right, they will create both revenue and prestige inside your gym, and a little bit of FOMO, but that's good. Okay, so just to recap, retention buys you time, Ascension multiplies that time. And when you systemize upgrades from small add-ons to premium programs, you will increase your average MRR per client without needing new leads. Now, once you've got clients staying longer and spending more, the final lever compounds everything because the highest LTV clients don't just stay and spend more, they bring more people with them. And that's where lever number 3 comes in, which is referrals and reactivations. Okay, now quick pause before we get into the last lever. If this is clicking for you, if you've already realizing you've been bleeding clients and revenue, leaving money on the table and missing these systems, do not wait until the end of this video because I only take on a limited amount of people per month. Click the link below and book a bottleneck game plan call with me. On the call, we will baseline your KPIs, your LTV, and map out what your biggest leaks are and build you a 90-day rollout to fix them. I guarantee I will get you 20% extra revenue without having to spend more money on ads in the next 90 days. But if you're not ready yet, no problem. Stick around because this last lever could literally double the impact of everything we've covered so far. So we've covered retention. We're keeping clients longer, which is great. We have Ascension, which is getting them to spend more. And now the third one is what makes LTV compound, which is referrals and reactivations. Because your best clients don't just stay and spend more. They are also obviously going to bring new people in. And if they leave, they can come back. So both of these skyrocket LTV. So what most gyms, what most companies, what most businesses do is they just hope clients refer their friends, their colleagues, all that stuff. They just wait and pray and hope. But hope is not a system. Referrals must be engineered into the culture. Okay, think about it. If your top 20 clients each bring 2 friends over their lifetime, your client base doubles without spending a cent on ads. Okay, and here's the kicker: referral clients usually have higher retention, higher compliance, higher likelihood to close, and higher spend because they've already come in trusting you and the person referring them, right? You can even do like an affiliate thing, but that's a whole other story, okay? Most times you don't need to incentivize people with affiliates, but here's the play. You're gonna build referral triggers at specific moments. So month 3, 6 are perfect. Clients have momentum, they're so proud of their results, and they're most likely to talk. That's where you trigger a reward. Maybe a gift card, maybe a t-shirt, maybe a bring a friend event. This is not bribery. This is simply recognition, and it turns referrals into a part of the experience and into your culture and your business that's automatic on autopilot. So here's the bring a friend SOP. One of the simplest referral systems is a bring a friend event. Low effort, really high impact. So because most clients, they want to bring people in, they just need the right moment. They need the push, okay? And if you've never created it, referrals stay in their head and they never happen. Okay, instead of doing like the tacky, hey, do you know anybody else? Just run this, okay? Once a month or a quarter, run a partner workout with a fun theme. Announce it in class, in your gym, put up posters, all that stuff. Blast it on your text, your SMS, your automated, your emails, your socials, all that fun stuff. And encourage every member to bring at least one guest. At the door, you capture their info. And within 48 hours, ideally sooner, within probably 12 hours, okay, it depends on the time, maybe 24 hours. You want to send them a text, or even better, you want to set them and call them. That's a whole other story. Link below on how to set people. But you want to say something, if you're just going to do a blast text, which I wouldn't really recommend, I would first set them first. But anyways, something like, hey, name, awesome having you at my place. Do you want me to send details on how our programs work? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how referrals work on autopilot. But I also promise you, if you set people and you call them and you get their goals, and I have a whole video breaking down how to set people, you will get much more compliance versus just sending a generic text message. People are going to read that text message. You're not going to reply. But if you took 5 minutes and you asked them like, hey, I saw you the other day and I really appreciate you coming out. Is it cool if I explain to you a little bit of how the program works if you want more info? Yes. Okay, great. Well, before I do that, like, what are your goals? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, great. So this is how we do it, blah, blah, blah. Can I book you in for a call? You talk to one of our specialists, our trainers. Boom, there you go. Okay, so now let's talk about the clients who left, because just because they're gone doesn't mean they're gone forever, all right? Most gyms, most businesses, they never follow up with cancellations. They think it's awkward. But here's the truth. A reactivated client often has a much higher LTV than before because they know what they've lost and they're coming back more committed and excited to take action. So check this out. We're going to break down math. If 20 clients cancel this year and you reactivate just literally a quarter of them, so that's 5, that's really doable. And you do that at $200 a month for another 6 months. That's $6,000 revenue that you just made. And if you do that every quarter, you just added $24,000 per year in literally just like revenue in your couch cushion type of stuff. And that's cheaper and faster than any ad campaign you could run on earth. So here's the really quick mini sequence of the reactivation. 60 to 90 days after cancellation, you send them a message, or following up with what I said before, you call them. Calling is always better. It's more personal, right? But you can also send them a message. Hey, name, we've been holding your spot, but our capacity is shifting or limited. Again, you're creating FOMO. You can even give them a discount. Maybe it's Black Friday. Maybe it's the new year. But would you like some details on re-entry option for XYZ, right? So you do want to stack it with a little bit of urgency, like restart their, like if you have a fee, a membership fee, you waive that. You can give them priority access to slots. You can give them a free consultation. You can give them your nutrition upsell, maybe even like a protein powder, whatever. But you also obviously want to follow up more than once before closing the window. And like a lead in your system is never really dead unless they literally ask you to stop messaging them, right? I've had people 3 years later I followed up with, and then they came back and I sold them. But that's really it, baseline. Those are the 2 touches. And if you have a steady stream of comeback clients, then you don't have to really continue to have all this crazy amount of ad spend, right? Now, there's a little bit of more information in depth that I could go into in terms of a reactivation campaign, whether it's Black Friday, New Year's, your birthday, all that stuff, the comeback campaign. But this is just like the very mini SOP. There's obviously more info in the curriculum of what we use at Ardent. So now here's the big identity shift. Operators chase leads. CEOs engineer loyalty, MRR, LTV, right? And that's when you master retention, ascension, and referrals, reactivations. You're no longer running on like a gym or a business. Oh, I just need more leads, like that treadmill, right? You're running with an enterprise and predictable growth, right? So just zoom out a little. Think of literally any business that is really, really successful. Think of anything you're wearing, anything that you use. Apple, Whoop, Peloton, and any tech company, and even Coca-Cola, all right? What do they all have in common? They have high MRR and high LTV, right? And a very low likelihood of churn, right? I understand SaaS is a little bit different, but even if we use an example like Coca-Cola, they have an incredibly high LTV and they don't honestly need to run ads. They just do it so they're like more top of mind because they have competitors like Pepsi. But if Pepsi didn't exist, Coca-Cola would not have to run ads, right? So you can think of all of those examples, all the top companies, all these enterprises, they all have that in common. And you need to have that same operation, that same identity shift in your brain as well. Because every extra month a client stays, every extra upgrade they accept, and every referral that they bring will compound your LTV. And suddenly you can now, if you would like, if you could handle the capacity, spend so much more money on ads than all of your competitors combined. You could even pay your staff better. You can hire better staff. You can actually step out of the day-to-day without the revenue tanking. Oh my God, you could take a vacation. I know, crazy. Maybe that's pushing it, but hopefully I got my point across. All right. If I didn't in the last 30 minutes, I don't really know what will, but nevertheless, this is just a snippet of what the Ardent systems installs in 90 days. Like literally this might be 2% of what you get. So if you're ready to stop bleeding clients and start scaling like an enterprise, click the link below and book your bottleneck call. I promise there's not even going to be a pitch. It is literally us talking to see if or how I could help because we do not work with everyone. But we'll go over your baseline LTV, your KPIs, show you exactly where your biggest leaks are, and give you a roadmap to fix it. All right. And if this video hit home, make sure to subscribe because every week I'm going to break down the exact systems that gyms like you are missing and the ones that separate busy operators from enterprise CEOs. And if you want to keep learning right now, YouTube thinks that you'll love the video on your screen right now. Click that and I'll see you inside of that.